Hey, my name is Bhex. Today, I want to show you guys something really cool that I made. First off, check out this messy little archery range, but that's not important. What's important are these right here. Let me go into survival mode really quick. So there are a couple blocks laying around. The crafting table, this barrel full of stuff, and the useless fletching table. Well, except the fletching table's not useless anymore. Hi creepers. You can now actually use the fletching table in Chopping Block. Now, it may seem a bit confusing how to use this at first because there are absolutely no signals for the player. However, that's what this video and this series is for. So let me just pick up all this stuff out of this chest. So the first important item that we have to craft for the fletching table is an arrow bundle. Now this basically just works as a surrogate for a group of 8 arrows because I just figured using odd item stacks would be weird. Now you'll notice this recipe up here in the corner, this budding amethyst. This is important. I have added this crafting recipe and this is specifically for fletching. However, this also was made primarily with chopping block in mind where geodes don't generate. And these budding amethyst will be useful in fletching. So now we go over to our fletching table. We put our arrow bundle in this first slot here, and then in the second slot we can add certain modifiers for the tips of our arrows. The most obvious is tipped arrows of potion. Now you might be thinking, Bhex, what about the regular tipped arrow recipe? Well, that's been removed. You can no longer craft tipped arrows in the crafting bench. And so now instead you have to get them through the fletching table. You can also craft spectral arrows with a piece of glowstone, and you get 8. And there are also a couple custom arrows that you can use. The first one is simply an obsidian arrow, and all the obsidian arrow does is it deals more damage than a normal arrow. And then you also have the shatter arrow, which is created with the budding amethyst, and I'll explain what those do in a second. So now let's grab a bow, and I can show you why all these creepers are laying around. Now, for the sake of demonstration, this is a regular arrow. It takes 3 shots to kill a creeper from max health. The first thing we're going to look at is our obsidian tipped arrow. The first notable thing here is that if it hits the ground, it will break. If it doesn't hit a mob, it will always break. And so it is definitely best to try and hit the mob that you are aiming for. But if you do hit the mob, it only takes 2 arrows with an unenchanted bow to take the mob down. The next arrow is the shatter arrow, which takes a bit longer to kill mobs. It takes 5 direct hits with a shatter arrow from... Whoa. Anyway, it takes 5 direct hits from a shatter arrow in order to kill an entity. However, the point of a shatter arrow is to not make direct hits. If your shatter arrow lands in the ground instead of hitting an entity, it will damage entities within a radius, due to the crystals on the arrow shattering and splintering off. And yes, they do work from crossbows as well. So now here's the thing. I need more ideas for what the fletching table should do. Or at the very least, I need more ideas for custom arrows. And so if you have any suggestions for arrows that could be made with the fletching table or special features that this could have, then, just let me know in the comments. Because this is a feature that I've been wanting to do for a long time and I finally have the framework to do it. So yeah, why not? So I just recorded this segment with my mic muted. Let's try that again. So I'm in a world you might not recognize unless you're a longtime viewer. This is my test world for non-chopping block related data packs. I don't really make a lot of those anymore. But I watched the recent Mysticat video where they made pushable blocks in vanilla Minecraft, and I thought that was really, really cool. And for a long time, I've been wondering how to do off-grid hitboxes like that, and, well, it turns out the answer was simply just to have a shulker ride an entity that can be off-grid. And that got me thinking about a long-standing bug with vertical slabs that can't really be fixed, where you can kind of stand inside some of the slabs. If you stand on top of them or next to them, you can just kind of be half inside of them and even see through them. It's not that big a deal, you can't really x-ray, but it is a thing. And I wanted to see if I could employ Mysticat's framework in order to create vertical slabs with accurate hitboxes, and so I gave it an attempt. And here it is right here. As you can see, you can walk across the top of these just fine. They have an accurate hitbox to the side. You can no longer peek inside of them. There is a small problem in death particles, and you can see the shulker when it dies. And you can also see the shulker when it's placed. So I actually just went and fixed the issue of being able to see the shulker when you break the block. I fixed this by just having the entities teleport themselves deep into the void and then killing themselves, instead of just having them kill themselves on the spot. There is still the issue of you can see the shulker when you place the block, but I think that's not super bad considering previously you saw a name tag pop up. There are a couple issues though that I want you to see right now. The first one is, yeah, I should not be looking at shulker faces right now. I also should not be floating in survival mode. Yeah, there's a bug where you can stand on the backside of vertical slabs. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna keep this change, but thanks to Mysticat's technology, we are now a little bit closer to pure vanilla vertical slabs. Just maybe this isn't the solution we're looking for. It is awfully close though. Okay, help me improve this house. I've been working on this for a few days now. Maybe a bit longer than that, I'm just a bit too embarrassed to admit it, but I have been unable to get this right. It looks stunty, it looks short, it looks not great, and obviously it's not very detailed. My first thought was to throw vertical slabs across it like I did with the other house, but I feel like that doesn't work as well with this house. So the first thing I tried was to have these little birch pillars on the corners of the houses. That's usually one thing I start with when I'm building something detailed, but obviously it doesn't work with this overhang, and this building's a little too small to give it a 2-block overhang. That'll just feel awkward. So I'm thinking, what if we put the logs right here? Okay, that looks a little nice. It's at least some variation. And I like what we're doing with these fences here. I kind of want to try and do some more with that. Like maybe if we place them next to our logs, that could be interesting. I don't like how they connect out like that, but I mean, that's just a part of chopping block. You can't really do anything about that. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but there should be like a debug stick for chopping block accessories like this. You know what if these fences help themselves out to layers a little bit more and these actually look good now? Yeah, no, I don't think that works. Definitely does not work. And then I want like a bar across here. What about like logs? What about like logs facing out like this? This doesn't look too bad. That doesn't look awful. What if we like carry that around? All right, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. This feels like the kind of house that would have a porch, but there's not really room for a porch. Oh well. And you know what? Let's put some like little base around it, around like the feet. How does that feel? A bit much? How about I get rid of these? I think some kind of slab would definitely work wonders here. Yeah, just having them be like little foundation pots. Ooh, cobblestone. I don't know why I haven't thought to use cobblestone in this build. That would be actually a great idea. Give it some structural integrity. All right, so what happens if I swap like the bottom layer out for cobblestone? Ooh, okay, that's some more character. I like it actually. Okay, do I like it? Do I like it? I think I do. I think I do like some of these details that are coming together. I dislike the lack of windows at the front, but the windows would pretty much have to go right in front of these, which actually, from the outside, it looks crazy, right? It looks insane from the outside. Like why would you have that? That just looks right. Yes, I know we have lanterns in the game, but I'm feeling classic Minecraft. I think this is an okay place to leave it for now. It's not as great as it could be, but it's not as terrible as it was. I might revisit this later. I probably won't. Hey, speaking of revisiting, let's go back to the Fletching Table. So I added another type of arrow. If you mix an arrow bundle with a blaze powder, you'll get 8 marker arrows. And how a marker arrow works is that when it lands, it will generate particles wherever it landed so that you can easily see it. Unlike other custom arrows, these do not break when they land. Now, originally I wanted to have the marker arrow give a glowing effect to the entity that it hits for a second, but then I realized that's what the spectral arrow does. And then I thought, never mind. You can also combine an arrow bundle with Phantom Membrane to get a glide arrow. Now, a glide arrow is really cool because watch this. Oh, that didn't seem that impressive to you? Okay, let me stand at the very end of this range. Now you may think, but Bhex, that arrow, it didn't fall at all. And you would be exactly right. So the glide arrows are in fact zero gravity arrows that do not fall when you fire them. Now I know you're probably thinking, what if I shoot one and it never lands? Will it just keep going forever? No, it won't. I decrease the momentum it gets when it's fired so it doesn't travel nearly as far as it normally would. Plus, when it finally comes to a full stop in the air, it starts on a timer that will kill it after 1 minute, which is the same amount of time that it takes arrows to despawn when they're in the ground. So, same thing. Oh yeah, and if you didn't notice, I also added these little glyphs into the table, so you are able to tell that your arrow bundle goes here and your other ingredient goes here. Now, I wanted to add a mechanic that lets you modify bows using the Fletching Table, but I really couldn't think of any modifications or attributes to give a bow that couldn't just be replaced with enchantments. And so to keep things elegant and simple, I have decided to only use arrows. I want to revamp the end ships. Right now, when the end icebergs generate with a ship nearby, they just have a full intact ship nearby. And when I was designing the end icebergs, the idea was going to be that these weren't just ships, these were shipwrecks. So now I need to create a few variations of this end ship that can be used as shipwrecks for the icebergs. Now I'm thinking a couple very obvious damages to the boat. I'm thinking like a crushed up front here, maybe some gashes along the side for another variation. A broken mast is an obvious one. But I've already made some changes to the shulkers in the end ship. The shulkers that naturally spawn on the ship will now always drop 1 to 2 shells, as opposed to naturally spawning shulkers in other parts of the world, which I do plan on adding, which will only drop 1 shell. And that just means when you get to the end, you'll be able to get a couple more shulker shells out of your visit to the end ship. Now before I turn this corner, I want to let you know that there is an even bigger change that I've already made that is unrelated to the shipwrecked shulkers. And you can probably tell by the subtitles on screen. I have changed the way that you obtain the elytra. You now have to go through a trial spawner, and this is a tough trial spawner. Whoa. You're in a tight space fighting quite a few shulkers. It is a miracle that I managed to go that long without getting hit. And that's another cool thing, is the shulkers can actually fire bullets through the windows if they teleport outside. And so shulkers that you can't hit can actually hit you if they know that you're there, and their bullets can make their way to the windows. So when you finally pull off the arduous task of defeating all the shulkers in this ship, you will get your trial key, which you can take over to your trial vault, and you will receive your elytra, along with some other loot. So what I need to do now is come up with a couple variations for these shipwrecks to take. And then I'll need to message Twaj again to see if they will help me make this change, because I still don't know anything about terrain gen data packs. So as you can see from the time lapse, I did a bunch of variations of these. So I did versions with damage on both sides of the front of the ship. I did versions with scars on both sides of the ship like that, and I also did versions, I believe, with holes more towards the back. So there are a few different variations that you can experience finding these, and some more difference between them is just how broken the masts are. Now, this may not seem like a huge amount of degradation, but just keep in mind that I will be generating these with a incomplete seed, which basically just means that some of the blocks will not generate and it will end up full of holes, more like a regular vanilla shipwreck that you would find generated in the world. Now, as for the placement of these holes in the ships, you'll notice I haven't really put any in the top of the ship right here where the player could kind of just fall in while fighting shulkers. There are a couple spots like here, but they are really just kept to the edges and very small. And the reason I've done that is because I wanted to make sure that these look broken for sure, but especially with the incomplete seed generation and these things already being full of holes, I didn't want to add to that because I really wanted the player to stand up here first and take in the top of the ship before going down into the bottom and facing the trial spawner, while an experienced player could just elytra in through this hole. I'm not the best at level design, so maybe this isn't the most spectacular idea, but the inspiration is there, and these ships definitely look broken, and they all have some kind of rubble inside. This end rod should be gone. I'm gonna get rid of that. And I've also scattered shipwrecked shulkers on most of these. I just forgot to put them on this one. I'll do that again here in a second. But I've scattered shipwrecked shulkers on all of these shipwrecks just so that there are a few more enemies for the player to be distracted by before going down into the main area for the fight. And yes, I'm aware this is a lot of shulkers that the player is going to be fighting, but keep in mind, these end ships have to make up for an entire lack of end cities. And even the most amount of shulkers that you'll fight in one of these end ships is barely comparable to the most amount of shulkers that you can find alone in an end city. So I think this is definitely passable. But we've gotten a lot done in this episode, and I think it's time for me to head out. But before I go, I want to tell you guys about my Discord server. The link is in the description. As always, it's completely free to join, as is any Discord server. And by joining the server, you'll be able to chat with me and other people interested in Minecraft Datapacks. I sometimes put out calls for beta testers to test my datapacks for me, which could give you a chance to playtest some of the features in Chopping Block before they come out, such as the Fletching Datapack, Tempest's Magic Machines, and even more. So check out the link in the description to join my Discord server. Thanks for watching. My name is Bhex, and I'm out. I'll see you next time. Bye.